Joining us now, Republican Congressman Jody Hice from House Oversight. Congressman, it's good to have you on. Your reaction to today's events on the George Floyd verdict?
You know, it's emotional for everyone. It's emotional for our country. We watched a police officer who had a number of misconduct investigations in the past, appears to have had a history of some very poor decisions. We all watched in horror with the events that took place with George Floyd. And now we trust our justice system to make the right decision. And he has had due process, has gone through the system, and a decision has been made. The outlying question is, did that decision have any influence with the voices of Maxine Waters and President Biden? I think those are questions that still need to be answered somewhere along the way. But until that is dealt with, I think we need to rest in our decision from the judicial branch of our government. We need healing in our country. We need to be able to trust one another again. We need to be able to trust God again, bring God back into our public square. It's a time for us to seek unity and peace and love for one another and love for God, and let's move forward.
You know, sir, we've been covering this story for more than a year. We do a 360-degree full scope, kind of full spectrum, trying to get the full context and all the angles of what's going on here at Fox Business. You know, we see former President Barack Obama saying this is not the end, that we will still pursue racism in the justice system. We see Nancy Pelosi now getting criticized for saying, thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life. Minority groups and black activists are saying it wasn't a sacrifice, he was murdered. People in the country are many people in the country support what Pelosi and Barack Obama are saying. That is well understood and accepted. People have their right to free speech, their right to their opinions, of course, and how they see what is going on. What we also see, though, is what happened on the streets of America, Congressman. We have 30 people killed in riots. We've got looting going on. We have at least $2 billion in damages. These riots that were sparked, we saw 2,000 cities and towns in all 50 states seeing some form of unrest. We also saw retired Captain David Dorn killed. He was responding to the looting of a pawn shop in St. Louis, Missouri. So we're trying to get all the coverage done here of what's missing and what the media is not covering. Do you feel that Americans are getting a well-rounded view of what happened over the last year?
No, I don't. I think we watch snippets of what happened throughout the year, but most Americans are not aware of the fact that that has taken place week after week after week, while the media turned its head and covered other things. Much of the media, primarily the liberal left-wing media, just refused to report on it. And look, rioting is wrong. It in itself is criminal. We are watching the destruction of individual lives and property and businesses that people have given their lives to build and develop, only to have rioters come in and destroy those businesses without any pushback from the Democrats as a whole, from the left. This is in itself a travesty that has taken place in our country, and any wrong behavior needs to be dealt with appropriate consequences, and that includes improper rioting and protesting when it crosses the line of the First Amendment into destruction of lives and property.
In other words, this story is so emotionally charged and has electric charges firing throughout so many parts of this story. But if you strip out the emotion, just stick to the facts, and you get to the truth, that is the avenue to peace, is it not?
Sure it is. But unfortunately, we seem to increasingly be living in a culture that the facts don't mean anything. We are driven by emotions rather than driven by truth and by the facts. And, you know, the facts are, among other things, and there are many issues in all this. You're so spot on that this is an emotionally charged issue, and that has ways in itself of confusing sometimes the facts, and it makes it to where you can't see the forest for the trees. But the facts in here is that all criminal, illegal behavior and conduct needs to have consequences. And that includes crossing the First Amendment and rioting in the streets across America. And both political parties need to condemn it. We need to support those in the blue who are protecting us. Yes, deal with the bad actors, obviously, but those who are serving well and sacrificing their own potential lives and safety in order to keep us citizens safe, we need to rally behind them with gratitude for the work that they do. There are so many issues involved in this whole past year as it relates to this, but we have got to step back. We've got to get a 30,000-foot view, who we are as Americans, rally around those things that we all agree with, like liberty and justice for all. And we need to focus on those things and make sure that it's a reality for all American citizens.
We hear yet again that the system works, that the Constitution works, that our criminal justice system is right and good and it works in this case and more. We hear, too, the argument that there is systemic racism throughout the police system and the court system and the justice system. We heard that throughout the past year from Black Lives Matters and other individuals as well. Do you believe that?
I believe there is true for some people. I don't believe it's true with a blanket statement that's thrown across virtually everyone in the country who is not, excuse me, a Democrat. But that's what it's made to believe. Those of us right now in Washington, D.C., we are having to wear that same blanket, that if we do not embrace the radical left-wing ideology of the left, that we, among other things, are racist. Nothing could be further from the truth. And it's harmful when we throw a large net across massive segments of our population and accuse them of things that they are not guilty of. That's wrong. That's harmful. That's divisive. And it continues to tear apart at the fabric of our country. Yes, there are individuals in this country who are racist on both sides of the issue here. Racism is not something that only one particular race has. It's spread across in people all over. But it's not a blanket thing. And I believe it's very harmful and destructive when we start accusing of people because of their political beliefs of being racist for no other reason than they have political views that differ from the left wing.
Horace Cooper, he's an African American. He's a writer and a legal expert. He came on the show a few nights ago saying that the misconception by Democrats and the media is, one, that America is racist, two, that that police officers are on a, quote, killing spree going after black people across the country. He's saying the data shows that is patently false. What do you say to his comments?
He's exactly right. There is no data to back that kind of accusation. And again, to throw those kind of blanket accusations out, they're harmful, they're destructive. We need to focus on getting rid of the bad actors. But that does not mean that all police officers are racist and they're on a killing spree to kill minorities in this country. That's just not true. The vast majority of police officers are great public servants, and they make very little money, but they're out there because they want to be involved in the safety of our communities. And so, again, let's deal with the bad act, but throwing blanket statements is not helpful.
All right. Congressman Jody Hice, it is good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.